Good morning. At this time, we'll call to order the Board of County Commissioners meeting for Thursday, February the 8th. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer?
Here.
Commissioner Allen? Here. Commissioner Clickup?
Here.
Commissioner Osterhouse? Here. Commissioner Ashcraft?
Here.
Commissioner Brown?
Here.
And Chairman Eilert.
Here. All are present. We do have a quorum. Would you join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For those who are present this morning, if you have a noise-making device, would ask that you turn it to silent mode or off so as not to interfere with our electronic communications. We do not have any presentations to make this morning, so we'll move to the public comment portion of our agenda. If there's anyone present who would like to address the Commission on an item which does not later appear on the agenda, welcome you to the podium. State your name and address. Limit your comments to 5 minutes, and we'll be glad to receive that information. Mr. Harkness. Something's not on there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that on the, what's on the?
You're good
agenda
now.
review?
Good now. Yep.
Okay.
No. The microphone.
The microphone was not on. It is on now, so we can hear what you have to offer.
I've been using the transit since 1984. My eyesight is such that I can't drive, and I've used the counties, the buses, the special edition, now the taxi service. And I think it's kind of ironic that I started using it about the same time we got away from the Metro, and now we're going back with them under similar conditions. We busted away from them back in the 80s during the second Great Recession and a major restructuring of our financial system in America. Now we're going back with them, so basically nothing's been accomplished. We're going back to what we were, and I'm just concerned that not everybody uses buses here. I think it's a commuter route type system. My fear is that the county runs it, but all the funding is done by the cities. So my fear is that they're going to create a bunch of transportation districts, make all these promises like they're doing now, which they've done over the years, increase the routes, put the weekends, and then 5 years from now they'll cut it and say it's a commuter route. Now they're saying it's public transportation. As I have found with employers, when you don't have a driver's license, they wonder. I've tried many different things, NA, CME, but it still turns out the same thing. They don't want to hire you. I've found that same way with the buses. So all this stuff, shipping them out to the jobs, I don't know if that's going to be real good. The Amazon thing lasted, what, 3 weeks? And I think we need to hurry this up and give it back to the Metro. And all the new signs are up. We've got all our bus stops in place. So let's see what they come up with before we start saying we're going to expand it, this and that. And let's see, kind of got off track here. And I know we've tried that development districts before, and the routes don't usually last very long, and people don't use buses in Johnson County. Overland Park was brought up in the survey last week, and every project they have has parking garages with it. So how is that encouraging the use of buses? And I know I notice we're getting towards that time of survey time here in Johnson County, and the buses are still on there. And I still wonder why we're subsidizing the K-10 routes. Lawrence hadn't seemed to really be in favor of it, so they've been not paying us. And there's all kinds of universities they can go to around here that have done satellite programs here. You go to UMKC, I mean, they're already here. Emporia State's got a program, Park University, Baker, Ottawa. I mean, there's all kinds of them, so I don't think we should ship them back and forth. Let the stay here. Is Johnson County Community College going to become Johnson County Commuter College? Is that the plan? I'm not sure. So on the surveys, we need to simplify, as they simplifying our tax codes, we need to maybe simplify it and send it out in postcard form. Are taxes too high in Johnson County? Yes, no, extremely agree, and all that stuff. Are fees too high? Yes. Do you use the buses in Johnson County? No. People will say no. I use them, but I know if the buses are taken away, I can always depend on the special edition and the cab service. So I just give you a heads up kind of where I'm thinking. I know it's coming up on the review, so we'll see what happens. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, if there's no one else to be heard, the public comment portion of our agenda is concluded. I do have several notes for the record this morning, which I have signed or will be signing. Access registration agreement with Robert Murphy to fulfill a stipulation in regards to a shared driveway for property located in the southwest corner of 191st Street and Lackman Road at Copper Hill Estates. This was approved on May 25, 2017. A partial release of easement for the Consolidated Main Sewer District due to the removal of sanitary sewer line in the vicinity of 159th Street and South Black Bob Road in the city of Olathe. Also, partial release of easement for the Consolidated Main Sewer District due to the removal of sanitary sewer line in the vicinity of 119th Street and Blue Valley Parkway in the city of Overland Park. A full release of easement for the Consolidated Main Sewer District due to the removal of sanitary sewer line in the vicinity of Chadwick and West 75th Street in the city of Prairie Village. The full release of easement and two partial release of easements for the Consolidated Main Sewer District due to the removal of sanitary sewer line in the vicinity of Shawnee Mission Parkway and Goddard Street in the city of Shawnee. And pursuant to KSA 75-5297, Judge Kelly Ryan appointed Sarah Welch as the judiciary representative to the Community Corrections Advisory Board through February 7, 2020. That concludes notes for the record. Moving to the consent agenda items, will the clerk please read them?
Item number 1, consider approving the January 18, 2018 business session minutes. Item number 2, consider ratifying the chairman's contractor licensing review board reappointments of August Huber as the general contractor Class A, Charles Blair as the residential contractor Class C representatives, and Eric Weimer as the architect civil engineer representative, and ratifying the appointment of James A. Brown as a certified building official representative, all of them through January 17, 2022. Item number 3, consider appointing Robert Gibbons as the 4th District Representative to the Commission on Aging through August 31, 2020. And item number 4, consider ratifying the chairman's reappointment of Carol Gonzalez through February 4, 2022, and Alan Rawich through February 4, 2020 to the Civil Service Board.
Is there any item a commissioner would like to have considered separately? Is there anyone present who would like to have an item considered separately? If not, the motion is in order. Mr. Osterhaus.
Move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second. Motion's made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen? Aye. Commissioner Clickham?
Aye.
Commissioner Osterhaus?
Aye.
Commissioner Ashcraft?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Aye.
Chairman Eilert?
Aye. Motion carried and approved. Where is the action agenda?
There are no items on the action agenda.
The action agenda has been completed.
Yes, it has.
So no items to be considered under the action agenda. So we'll turn to reports and communications. Ms. Postoke Ferguson.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. We have 2 items today. First is the major project update. It is attached in your packet. So with that, we'll take questions. Also, Unilever is reporting their annual certification that's required as part of their performance agreement when they receive the tax abatement. And the 2 things that they report on, you can see in the last page in your packet, is the number of employees at 286 and the annual salary at $63,478, both exceeding the performance requirements. And Aaron's here if there's questions on that. So
Very
with that,
good.
I'll take questions.
Any questions? Okay. Legislative update, Ms. Cindy Green.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. We are here for another busy report from everything that's been happening. Our biggest thing we did this week is the chairman was over in Topeka on Tuesday and testified on two different bills, Senate Bill 299 and House Bill 2509, both of them related to one of our top 5 issues in regards to the election commissioner, and that we are wanting to have authority over their budget process, that it come through just like any other department, and that they would also follow our personnel policies. The hearings went well. We had some good questions from both of the committees, and we are working with the chair people to move forward and work those bills and keep them moving. There is some movement maybe to make some alterations to it, and we're keeping a close eye on it, and our lobbyists are assisting with that, so we will keep you informed as that goes on. So another hot bill that really got some attention this week, there's 2 of them. One in this year, their practice is to introduce a bill in both the House and the Senate. Typically, they would just do one side and work it through, but this year they have really focused on introducing identical bills in both houses. So Senate Bill 342 and House Bill 2560, they're known as the Cybersecurity Act, and the impact on local government is in regards to our sheriff's department and the cost that they would charge per sheriff's employee that accesses their system, that does background checks and those types of investigative reports. They actually had it in there that it could cost up to $700, which if you take our sheriff's department, multiply it by $700, is outrageous, we believe. They did do some negotiations last night in the House hearing to bring it down to $360 a person, but that still seems really high to us. So the Sheriff's Department, I've been just in communication with Greg Smith this morning, and they've been working with them and the Sheriff's Association to make this more of a realistic, what kind of value are we getting for that kind of cost, and does this make sense? So we are working on keeping an eye on that bill.
Cindy, let me ask you, I had trouble identifying, I guess, a valid reason for this. I mean, it's security that needs to be placed on the system, and yet we are required to use that system?
Yes, we are.
And so they're charging us for that system. Seems to me like that would be like providing security for our website, which we do, and then charging every user to pay a cost to use the website. It's either a necessary cost of maintaining the system or it's not. And if you don't have an opportunity to use an alternative system, I don't see, I can understand they want to generate money with all their difficulties, but again, I have trouble making sense of this.
So, and this would be one of those things that's a local mandate, so we will bring that to their attention when we get ready to do our finances in regards to the tax lid. So, but we are going to continue to fight. I think there's enough uproar. So they sent out an email last night after the hearing because they're going to discuss it again Friday morning for everybody to contact their legislators on this issue.
And I'm sure the sheriff is active.
Yes, and that's what I talked to Greg this morning, that he is contacting them, and he's heavily involved with the Sheriff's Association on it. But I'd be happy to share the names of those Johnson County committee members if you'd like them. So if you want to contact them also, I'd be happy to do that this morning.
Thank you. Michael, you had a question?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, follow on to your question. Ms. Green, you threw out 2 figures. I think it was 700 and the other was
360. So.
What is the basis of that cost? I mean, is it just a plucked number?
Or it's up to 700, so it's not even so I don't think it's it is a plucked number. So. And
it's based on population of the county?
No, it's going to be based on, it's going to be up to $360 per employee that accesses the system. So if we have 80 officers that use it from the Sheriff's Department, we would do 80 times 360, up to 360.
Well, so if we just have one person that all those accesses go through, then we can cut the cost? Is that what you're saying? I'm not trying to be silly, but I mean, that kind of promotes gaming the system, does it not? It's true?
Yes, it's
okay.
Looks to me like it's a
it's
revenue
complex.
source.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. The next bill that we're having a hearing on this Friday, and we sent in some testimony, is the IDD carve-out that will be critical to us removing our persons with disabilities from the CAN-CARE. And so that's going to be heard in the Senate on Friday. We've sent in testimony as of last night. And then next week, there's going to be a hearing on February 14th for Medicaid expansion, and we submitted testimony encouraging that because we know the impact on our mental health and our EMS departments and how much that we pick up locally. Because if more folks had Medicaid, it would help us with coverage on expenses that we pick up. So we sent in testimony noting those numbers. And then in regards to, I talked to you briefly last week about the distribution of taxes paid under protest. There is going to be a hearing on that on Friday. So I'm going to send Mr. Franzen an email to see if he would like to, if we should be sending in testimony, if that's going to be complex for us to meet those requirements. But it would be us holding anything, if somebody's protesting, you would just hold the amount that is under protest at the county and not distribute to the other entities. But again, it becomes an accounting process and a cost of doing business to keep track with that. Another issue that we have not seen any legislation on but was mentioned in a committee this week is the dark store theory. Senate Tax Committee talked about on February 20th and 21st having some hearings and bringing in some people from the large box stores and discussing the issue. So we will be paying attention to that. But again, no legislation has been introduced to date that we know of. Just some different things that occurred after we received our new governor last week, and I'm going to give you some of the new secretaries that were placed in new positions. Department of KDHE, Jeff Anderson is going to remain as the acting secretary, and then John Handroff is going to serve as the medical director there. Under DCF, acting secretary Gina Meyer-Hummel will stay in place as acting. Commerce, we received news again that Nick Jordan is going to depart the agency, and Bob North is going to serve as their interim secretary. He's in their legal department currently. And then for the governor's office senior staff, John Hummel is going to be chief of staff. Bryant Lowell is going to be chief counsel. Andrew Weens is his chief policy advisor. Tim Schallenberger is going to remain on as legislative affairs director. And Kendall Marr is chief communications director. Other news that impacts us here locally in Johnson County is Larry Campbell was appointed as budget director, so he has resigned his position as state rep, not as city councilman, but as state rep. So we'll be watching to see who receives that replacement and then what happens to the committees that he was on. Jeff Collier, our new governor, did address the legislature yesterday, and the things that he focused on is transparency and then emphasis on workforce development for unemployed Kansans. He also promised to sign any bill that was presented to him that would keep schools open and end the school finance litigation for good and add funds gradually over time to avoid a tax increase. So that will be a challenge that still meets them this session. This was the last week that you could introduce bills in non-exempt committees, so there was a slurry of bills that were introduced, and we haven't even seen them all because they can introduce them by topic and then bring in the drafts and actually introduce the actual language. So we'll be watching for those this week as they all come in appearance. So I am available for any additional questions you have.
I should just simply note in regards to the CAN-CARE issue for the IDD population, before CAN-CARE was put in place, the IDD population, the services are more in the area of long-term care rather than medical services. And the argument was presented prior to the introduction of CAN-CARE that the insurance companies were ill-equipped to deal with the long-term care component. That has been demonstrated to be true. And so that's the reason for the asking for the carve-out, because of the differences between medical needs and long-term care needs. So also I should note I spent about 20 minutes on a conference call this morning from our national NACO representative for the Midwest, and the topic was dark stores. States all over the country are dealing with that issue. And we'll probably hear more about it at our NACRO conference in March. So, any other questions? Jim?
Cindy, I just wanted to compliment you. You gave a very comprehensive report. It appears that you're on top of all the different balls that the legislature's juggling, but it's refreshing to see the detail and the knowledge that you have, what's going on and what possibly could affect Johnson County. So thank you. It's a very good update.
Any other questions? Mr. Ashcraft.
Mr. Chairman, will you be offering testimony on the IDD carve-out?
No, we sent a letter. Testimony is tomorrow.
Okay.
So we sent written testimony.
Yeah, we sent written.
You won't be
testimony.
attending?
I will not be
Okay.
attending. I'm an aide, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm sure there will be representatives from Johnson County community to be there. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other reports? Okay. We'll turn to commission comments. Mr. Schaefer?
Thank you. Had the pleasure to attend the courthouse update last night. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, all the other staff members that were there. It was very informative. I know a lot of you, probably all of you attended one or the other, so you may comment as well.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Clickup?
Nothing.
Mr. Ashcraft?
I want to congratulate Larry Campbell on his appointment as budget director. I wish him well. He does know Johnson County and the heart of Johnson County, which happens to be Olathe. So I wish him well and congratulate, of course, our new Governor Collier. But, Mr. Chairman, I just received some distressing news this morning, and in some ways it's just, I'm sure it's great news for this individual, but I want to be the first to tell Linda Barnes that she will be missed. She is retiring in just a few short weeks, although Commissioner Klicka said that it was not until 2019. I suspect she might object to that. So I am distressed, although I'm happy for her, and I wanted to be one of the first to say, can't you change your mind? No, congratulations.
Mr. Allen?
I'd echo the comments. Congratulations on your pending retirement, and would echo the comments. I did attend both meetings on the courthouse, and the input and what the staff did and presentations, in my opinion, went very well. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ostrowski?
Well, I'll echo comments about Linda. She's been kind of if we talk about the heart of the county, it's been kind of the heart around here. My second mom, running. So I really appreciate everything you've done for us, Linda, so thank you for that. Also had the opportunity to attend both the public sessions, and I just want to note that the session that attended in Overland Park, we had people applauding, and we're very thankful for our staff. So I would argue that Overland Park is more the heart of Johnson County. But in seriousness, thank you to our staff. It was a great presentation, very informative, and I think a lot of people had questions, and those questions, I believe, were answered to the best of our ability. So thank you.
Well, now we'll hear from the 6th District.
Big 6th District, and I was going to take the opportunity to point out that, and pile on, that Olathe being the heart of our overall county community, and that I got the last word, but Chairman, I think you actually get the last word on this, so it occurred to me just before I said that. Congratulations, Linda. Known you a long time, and we love you, and we're going to miss you greatly. So, but I know you're going to have a ball. It's going to be great. And congratulations to Larry Campbell, a personal friend, a business partner, a banker. I've known Larry for 20 years, and the governor has selected someone who will do a fine job, knows what he's doing, and understands how the machine operates, and he's going to be great there, and I wish him the very best. That's all. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah. Well, again, Linda, we're going to miss you, and Linda, too. We'll be glad.
Wait a minute, she's not leaving for another year.
So thank you very much, and congratulations to Representative Campbell. Larry, I'm sure will do a good job, and he brings a long history of knowledge about local government to that position, which I think will be might be helpful. Just one other announcement: we do have a joint meeting with the Library Board this afternoon, or this evening. I think 6 p.m. at the Central Resource Library. So as many of you can make that meeting, why, that's very good. That concludes the items on our agenda. We'll take a short break and come back. Oh, I should also make one other statement. I think several of us are going to attend the DeSoto State of the City luncheon at noon today, so I don't know how many will be attending there. I think Commissioner Brown and myself at least. So we are adjourned, and we'll come back for our agenda review. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.